Hello again. Today we're going to color the animal cell. So you'll want to flip to the back of your notes and find, you should have a drawing, a page that looks exactly like this and where you have an animal cell. I've also posted the animal cell online. If you find that this is helpful for you to color and label things as a way of studying, you may want to print a couple extra of these off and just do them as a way of reviewing. Okay. You'll need colors for today, so if you don't have colors close at hand, like colored pencils, crayons, markers, whatever, go ahead and go get them. Pause this for a second and then we'll get started. All right, so we're gonna label each part of the cell. Now, some parts we went over in our notes, and some of these parts are going to be new to us. If a part is new to you, you don't really need to know a lot about it, but I would like you to be able to recognize it in a picture of the cell. We're not going over every part of the cell in depth this year because you'll come back to the cell in 7th grade and you're going to learn some more parts of it then, okay? Some parts we will just name, but we won't explain. Other parts we have already explained in our notes, and hopefully this will help you to recognize them. All right, we're going to start up here, and I guess I'll just start on the leftmost one. This is going to be a part that we have not talked about, so this is one of those ones I just want you to recognize. This is called, these are called centrioles. Centrioles are important for helping the cell to divide, but we're not going to talk about cell division this year in depth, so we did not go over them now. Right here, these little lines represent chromosomes inside the cell. We've talked about chromosomes. We talked about how they're made of DNA, and then that DNA functions like a blueprint for all of the things in your cells. Because those are just the black lines, we're not going to color them, but you can go ahead and label them. All right, this part that I'm coloring red here, this is your nucleolus. Now, we did not talk about the nucleolus either. It's a small part of the nucleus where ribosomes are made. You don't need to know that much detail, but you should be able to recognize it on a picture of the drawing. So this is called the nucleolus. This is pointing to the nucleus itself. It's pointing actually to a specific part of the nucleus called the nuclear membrane. But we are going to label it just as the nucleus because we don't have an arrow on here that points to just the whole thing by itself. You can go ahead and color your nucleus. I'm going to color mine orange. You can use whatever colors you want, by the way. You don't need to match me. It would be kind of hard. So whatever colors you have, just feel free to use a different color for each thing. All right. We have one more part up here that we did not talk about. This is something called a lysosome. It works like a recycling center for your cell. So a lot of times cells have things that get old, parts that don't function anymore. And so the easiest thing for your body to do with them is to break them down into parts that can be used over again to build new molecules that actually work. I'm just going to color these green. Now, this is the first thing found in more than one place on the drawing. So anytime something's in more than one place, I want you to color all of them. That's why we're both coloring and labeling, is because sometimes something shows up more than once. All right, right here, we have our Golgi apparatus. Or sorry, no, that's not correct. We have our smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And that's actually one of the things I was going to tell you is how can you tell the difference between the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus? And the trick for that is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is always going to be attached to the nucleus. So you're going to look for it close to the nucleus, and then it will also have more of just kind of like this round appearance rather than a flattened pancake appearance like the Golgi apparatus. I'm going to go ahead and color my Smooth endoplasmic reticulum, pink. That's fun. All right. And next, now we have the Golgi apparatus. Golgi body, Golgi complex, you can label it whatever you want. Go ahead and color that in, whatever color you choose. And then these bubbles, you'll remember, hopefully, are those vesicles that the Golgi apparatus makes. So we want to color those in too because they're part of the Golgi apparatus also. And remember, it's going to make those bubbles and mark them with chemical tags to send them out. And those chemical tags work like address labels. They allow our body to know where things should go. So it marks those chemical tags like an address label, and then they send them to specific places in your body. We talked about your salivary gland being one of the cells that does that. Your nerve cells also do that to communicate with each other. All right, next we're going to do this one. Now we noticed already, see that there were no dots on this one. So we called it the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. This one, you can see little ribosomes attached. So what's this going to be called? It's going to be the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Color it blue. You can color it whatever color suits you. There we go. And this is called the rough endoplasmic reticulum. This guy right here is just a ribosome floating all by himself. We don't need to color all the ribosomes because they're just those little dots. You will notice that they're throughout the cell. So some ribosomes catch a ride on the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and that's where they're stuck. Other ribosomes just float around in your cytoplasm. Which brings us to the next thing. This is the cytoplasm. I'm going to color this gray. It doesn't matter what color you choose, but you do want to pick a lighter color so that you don't block out all the things. And I'm just going to kind of roughly shade mine in. You can take longer and color yours in if you want, but I don't want this video to be too long. Okay. Next, cell membrane. I'm going to color my cell membrane this bright yellow shade. So the cell membrane goes all around the cell. Every single cell on the face of the planet has to have a cell membrane because you can see this wouldn't be much of a cell if it didn't have a cell membrane, right? It'd just be a bunch of parts that would float away inside of the body. So in order for it to actually be held together and to be a cell, We've got to have this membrane surrounding it. Go all the way around, get the parts up here that we can see. Now normally this cell would just look like a ball, and so that wouldn't be very exciting or very helpful for us to color it. So what we did is we took a what we call a cross section of it. So we've just cut it off kind of, and then opened up all the organelles so that you can see inside. All right. Next up is the mitochondrion. I'm going to use this color, which is hopefully different enough from my other color that you can tell. Remember, the mitochondrion is going to take the energy that you eat, like sugar energy, other types of energy, and it's going to break them down into ATP. We have 2 mitochondria, so make sure you color them both. And then this, they're trying to just show you that throughout your cell, there are tubes. And now I don't really like the way that they drew this, but I'll kind of explain to you what it does. Really, this would look like a whole network of tubes running throughout the whole cell, and they would all be connected. They've just drawn little pieces of it so as not to kind of clutter up the drawing, but don't think that they're just tiny little sections of tube floating around in the cell, because that wouldn't really be correct. What they are doing is they're tubes that run all the way across the cell, and what that is called the cytoskeleton, or we have what we call microtubules and microfilaments. And what those do is they allow the cell, they hold all these organelles in place and kind of move them around the cell if they need to be moved, but it gives your cell some extra structure. I'm just going to move this so you can clearly see those labels on the bottom if you didn't get a chance to. All right, that's your animal cell. Feel free to print a couple of these and color them several times if that's helpful to you, or just don't color them, just label them. But knowing the parts of the cell is something that you're going to want to do. So go ahead, and if you need another part of this, feel free to fast forward or rewind to the part that you need, and pause it whenever. I will do a separate one for the plant cell, so I will see you guys later.